What is going on here? Seriously? You can shoot the floor, but not into the distance. In my very first Devblog, watch as Murphy pays me a visit and mess about with my code. While doing this video, the thought came to me, could this be turned into a playable game? Is it possible to use AI as a tool like any other piece of software? This brought up the ethical side of it all, and after doing a video about it, I decided to give it a go. I started to chat with AI about possible plots. After working through all the suggestions by AI and picking the way forward, the next question popped up. Where do I start? I decided to start with the main character. The inspector is an obvious pick as a player character, but the inspector cannot go about time travel crime solving without any means to protect himself. Which type of weapon does he possess? Is it a lethal or non-lethal weapon? Or could the weapon switch between lethal and non-lethal with a flick of a switch? After I chat with AI about possible weapons and how they might look, I settled on this generated image. I then fired up ZBrush. After a few hours of testing ideas based on the AI generated image, I decided to create modular pieces for the weapon. Not only does this make creation easier, but gives more flexibility when assembling weapons in Unreal Engine. After this, I imported each component into Maya to simplify and create UVs. Then it was time to create a texture for each component that is not grey. Not all prototypes need to look bland. Each piece was pulled into Substance Painter to receive a quick texturing. Once done, it was time to get everything into Unreal Engine. I started with assembling the materials for each piece. Once that was done, I imported each piece into Unreal Engine. I created a blueprint and assembled the weapon, followed by creating a projectile blueprint. Time to test. Then Murphy came for a visit. The first thing to go wrong was aiming that did not work as intended. Instead of aiming when pressing a button and stop aiming when I released the button, it just got stuck at aiming. After a few hours of digging in the code, I saw it. The issue was staring me in the face the whole time. Every time I aim and release, I would set a property twice. Once at the beginning of the method, and then again when calling toggle ADS. Toggle ADS was introduced when I had to solve aiming for NPCs. How did I forget about this method? After that setback, it was time to test again. The next thing popped up. Every time I aim into the distance, the projectile would just drop like a lead ball. Yet, if I aim at the floor, the projectile worked as intended. Again, I had to go through my code, testing and debugging. I started in Blueprint, just to come up empty and frustrated. Then I moved to C++, putting breakpoints where the projectile is being spawned. This led me to the code calling the spawn projectile function. Then I found it. Doing a line trace into the abyss does not result in any hits, leaving me with no impact point but only a zero vector, causing the projectile to go straight down. Now by this time I was really fed up with this issue, as this code used to work in a previous project. But it slipped my mind to also copy the fix for this issue from that previous project. If there is no hit, just use the end vector of the trace as the target location for the projectile to go to. Now I am back on track, creating a time-traveling murder mystery to solve. This concludes my first and very short Devblog. Now check out this video to learn something about AI and Unreal Engine.